And we're back with Elizabeth. I'm sorry guys, we're laughing a lot and
we're having a lot of fun.
We are having a lot of fun today. Periscope it's all about being casual, so thank you for joining us. And I want to ask Elizabeth Wasserman, who graduated from SOU, a couple questions. She's going to tell us about her experience and where her journey took her and some important advice for SOU students. So, what brings you here today?
Well, I'm visiting Ashland, my home, for the holidays, and I always stop off at SOU because I like to check in with my old professors and touch base because being here changed my life. Really. I mean,
we are pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, I started out in preschool here. I was the preschool mom, and my kids were going here, and I realized, wow, early childhood education is not what it was when I was a kid. And I wanted to be a teacher, so I got in your education department, and it was when they had 4-year education degrees. So I got my BS in education and taught for 10 years in the Rogue Valley.
Nice.
And then decided, okay, I'm ready for something different. And you still have in the biology department, the environmental education masters. I did that. That really changed my life. That is the gift that keeps on giving, truly. And everything they say about education is true. I left here and went to Alaska.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought it was God's gift to environmental education. And it took me a couple years, but I eventually got a job with the National Park Service. And I was a park ranger, education specialist, getting to share Alaska with the public and teaching them about bears and volcanoes and glaciers, and it was a dream job.
And the most important question, since you lived and worked in Alaska, did you see any bears?
Oh yeah, I've been very close to bears. I used to run a live webcam on bears and talk to people about sometimes there would be 70 bears in the view of the camera, and then I got to go to where the remote camera was and be as close to a bear as that tree.
Were they mellow?
Yeah, they weren't interested in us at all.
Pretty close.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
it's really close.
They weren't interested in us at all because it was a small group of people that behaved predictably, and they were totally focused on the salmon, which were coming up the river, and bears are all about food.
What about wolves?
I always wanted to see a wolf, and I even went to Denali, and they're a lot more elusive.
Okay, so all the reality shows on Alaska, they're lies.
Well,
the wolves are not that bad.
Some of them, yeah.
Right.
No, wolves are actually good and important to the ecosystem.
So you don't live in Alaska anymore?
Oh no. So I came down. There were grandbabies happening and stuff like that. I came back down to the lower 48, as they call it, and ended up on the East Coast, like really fish out of water because I'm a Pacific Northwest girl. But my science background got me a job with the U.S. Geological Survey, and that is making living in Northern Virginia worth it. I have the best job in the world, and I know that I draw on my master's degree every day because I interact with scientists. I help them. They give me $1 million, not as salary, but $1 million to give away to the scientists to help them hire the next generation. You guys.
That's why we're here today, guys.
I'm here to tell you how to do that, because when I was here at SOU, I didn't know about this federal program that currently is called Pathways. And if you go, all the federal jobs are advertised through this website, USA Jobs, and if you go to that, they have a button just for you, students and recent grads. And there's special programs that allow you to get into the government while you're still a student. The recent graduate one, you can get in within 2 years of graduation. But there's great jobs in the government. USGS isn't just rocks, it's all the science that is ever done on the earth. I mean, atmospheric, climate, hazards, ecosystems, everything. And the way to get in is through USA Jobs. And the best time to get in is when you're a student, because after that, it's really, really difficult. And so there's a, temporary career internship, and that can lead to a permanent position with the government. And I love my job, and I highly recommend it, and I'm here to tell you about it.
I'm a state employee, you're a state employee, and federal, rather. Yeah, government jobs, it's the way to go. If you want to be set for life, you want to have the best benefits, and just really kind of have that job security, more often than not, that's the path you want to take. Not for everybody, but if that's something that interests you, then get on it. So
really nice.
Where can students go to find more information about pathways?
Just Google, well, if you all still Google, I don't know,
We do.
tweet or whatever, I don't know what's happening now,
We
but
do.
USA Jobs, that's the federal webpage for hiring, and there's a button there, it says students and recent grads, and then you can filter your search by state or by agency or whatever, and it really couldn't be easier, but you got to plan ahead because it's the government, and and all of the
slowly.
the application process will be daunting, but not anything like, I mean, getting a master's or anything. You know, one of the things you learn here is doing paperwork, and so you will apply those skills in trying to get your job with the government. But it's, you know, we're not all bureaucrats. There's awesome scientists that get to study all polar bear. I mean, we do a lot of the polar bear research. We're studying pikas. We're studying earthquakes, volcanoes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Not what I would have thought. When she told me she worked for the U.S. Geological Survey, I was like, oh,
What'd you think?
So you work with dirt and rocks.
Yeah,
And
dirt
she's
and
like,
rocks.
no,
Oh, it's
no.
everything. It's earth science. We're the premier science organization for the nation.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Well, this is something I definitely didn't know about. I'm also an SOU alum and had never heard about this. So it sounds like if you get a job as an intern with the government, you're pretty much set up for your career.
Well, you have
Figure this out.
you have a better opportunity than if you're just applying as a member of the general public.
Oh.
That's what it's set up for, to encourage students in their career to be have an opportunity to work along with practicing. Well, I'm thinking about scientists, but you know, it's all across the nation.
Awesome.
So I didn't know about it, and I found out about it after I, you know, had gotten my master's, and it was like, ah. So, but I was able to get in through a similar program, but I had to go to school again. I had to get another certificate, so just to be in that student status. So
It sounds like that really paid off for you.
it did.
When did you actually graduate from SOU?
Oh my gosh. The first time, I was a non-traditional student in the 80s.
So you didn't live in Cascades?
No,
Or you
no,
didn't-
no.
the
I was
Cascade
already
dining,
married and all
fine
that.
dining.
I had kids, and I started back when I was 30, and that was non-traditional.
yeah,
Like, you probably don't even use that term anymore. I don't know.
I think we say alternative and non-traditional. We have a lot. I mean, they make up a pretty big demographic.
Well,
A lot of
yeah.
people come back later.
Yeah, and I was a senior for 5 years, you know, raising
Oh,
kids
you were a
and
super
doing all
duper
that.
duper
Yeah,
duper
yeah, yeah.
senior.
And then I taught, and then I finished my master's in 2002 and took off for Alaska, and it's been a blast.
What's your favorite SOU memory?
Oh God, I was just in there. I got all choked up in the natural history lab. You know, just pulling out, like, if you want to learn natural history, Oregon's a place to do it, because we are one of the most biodiverse places on the planet, which is great, but you have to learn a lot of species. There's over 300 birds and I don't know how many mammals, and you have to learn them all. And they were all there, and there were students studying for their tests, and they had all the bats and the squirrels and stuff out, and
Very good.
that, and just all the field trips we did, and just learning Oregon and learning how to learn the natural history of a place, because I've lived from here to Oregon, I mean to Alaska, to back to high desert Oregon, and now I'm in the eastern hardwood forest, and I learned how to learn the natural history of a place, and so I can take that anywhere. So I love it.
So other than pathways, if you had a single bit of, like, what would be the top advice for an SOU student as they're figuring out their next steps and where they're going to land? Do you have any advice around that?
Wasn't ready for this question.
Pass.
No, I would definitely, honestly, I love the stability of working for the government, and I would just get an account on USA Jobs, put all your stuff in there, all your recent transcripts and everything, and set up, they have, like, you can set up 10 searches, and they email you jobs as they become available, and then network. And look into the USGS. We've got 400 science centers, at least one in every state, and we study everything.
Who knew? Who knew?
I know.
I think there's always this myth around government jobs or bubureaucrats that everybody's just like dying slowly behind a desk and not signing your paper and, you know, deliberately being obtuse and hard to work with. And that's not true. We do really amazing, awesome stuff. So
well, that's what I love about my job, is that I get to work with scientists who hire people like you out there, students, and they love the students, they love mentoring, they love passing on what they do, and a lot of people are retiring. All us baby boomers are retiring, and we need the next generation. So when we need you now.
Wow.
So hurry up, take those tests, get your diploma, get a job.
So one more time, it was the Google
USA Jobs.
USA Jobs.
And then there's a button for students and recent graduates, and you go there, and then you guys know the rest of that. You know your way around the internet better than I do.
Well, thank you for joining us, Elizabeth Wasserman. Wasserman, I'm sorry, I can't. Elizabeth Wasserman, SOU alum, coming back and seeing her old stomping grounds, and had great information for us today. So we really appreciate that you're here.
Well, thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining in.